Detroit garage. Got the Super Ford in for some upgrades. Putting some 9G90 injectors in it. Upgrading fuel hoses. The starter. Oh yeah, the jakes. Something with the jakes are not working quite right, so have a look at those. And just a general inspection and tune-up. So it'll boost with the 9G90s. I'll go from 210 horse I have now to about 250 horse. So it's a 40 horse boost. And with the water meth on, that'll put it up to about 280, 290 horse. So a significant increase in power. So we'll see. I'm hoping the turbo I built that's on it now will accommodate the larger injectors. That turbo's been on here, I forget now, a couple of years. It's been running really nice. So anyway, we're gonna pull the cab off to do all this, to get to the hoses, check my fuel pump, all that stuff to make sure everything's kosher. Change out this fuel stop solenoid. That's been giving me a few issues from time to time, so we're gonna do that. Anyway, I'll bring it back when the cab's off and we're ready to take the valve cover off. Well, there it is, cab off, guys. So, like I said, main thing is to repair the jakes and figure out why they're not engaging the way they should. Fix this. Sometimes it doesn't lock like this, so it's in the stop mode. So I'll look into that and see what's going on. And then repair all the hoses. So replace any of the rubber fuel hoses like this here. So I still have some rubber hoses on here that need to be replaced with these PTFE. That's biodiesel compatible. So we're going to replace all the rubber hoses with PTFE hoses. And even this hose here from the pump to the secondary filter, we'll replace that. And that's going to be a bear to get to because it's behind my accessories. So with any luck, I'll get it out without pulling everything off the front of the engine. But I want to get that done this time around. So I pulled the valve cover and there's the jake heads here. Just trying to figure out why they're not working right, but the solenoids are moving nice and freely. Anyway, we'll do some investigating on that, but nice and clean. I've been running veg oil for 2 years now, and there's no evidence of nasty things going on. So you can see the 7A77s there. I'm going to pull those out, put the 9G90s in it, and then I'm switching out this fuel modulator for an airtight unit. This one leaks a lot, so I want to fix that as well. So I'll test a couple on the shelf and make sure they're in better condition. But yeah, very happy. Everything looks really nice and clean. The valve cover is leaking. The bolts at the back were like hand tight, and that's where the oil's leaking from. But I think what I'll do eventually, you could see it just runs down here and across. Yeah, right out the back of the gasket. I think what I'll do eventually is upgrade it to a silver series valve cover, build a nice aluminum riser in here and do that and stop the oil leaking. All right, so there's the 9G90s. I've gone through these and fixed them up. They're from a friend, gave them to me. They've got low hours on them, but I just went through them, had a look, make sure everything's good, and then you know, make sure they're all free. They were all stuck from sitting. So, and then here's that fuel modulator. I'll test that now and make sure it's airtight, because the one that's on my truck is pretty nasty. All right, so I was going to replace the fuel modulator in the Detroit, but it looks like they all leak the same. It's the nature of the beast. Or if it's not, let me know in the comments below. But they all leak the same. These two are basically new, and they both leak as same as the old one. And my 453T modulator leaks the same. So now that I've sorted that out, I'm going to pull the Jake heads off and pull the injectors and replace them with the 9G90s. Do a full tune-up on the engine, and then start it and test the Jakes and everything else. So that's what we're going to do. All right, found another issue. That flare broke. So that would have made this bank of Jakes pretty much useless. So I've had this issue before, so what I'm going to do now is make these soft lines so these don't break anymore. So get some hoses made up for those. Oh, very nice. Wow. Check out that tip. I just wiped the tip off with a rag and it's like brand new. A little bit of carbon around this spot here, but nothing where it ejects the fuel. Very happy with that. And here's the 9G90 for reference. So very happy indeed. 2 years on veg oil and the tips look like new. Here's the 9G90s. So I just cleaned out the tube so I can put the new injector in. So clamp bolt for the injector, 20 to 25 foot-pounds. Okay, 160 inch-pounds for the fuel lines. Okay, I'll bring it back when I finish up. Just show you one and then I'll do the rest. And then I'll show you when we're done. Okay, 9G90s are in. All torqued down. Just checking the rack a little bit here. And there's one injector that needs to be adjusted. Slight movement. The rest are all tight, so I'll run the rack after I do the overhead. And the fuel modulator's all loosened off. So these are 55 foot-pounds. Okay, this is 0.454. I'll set the modulator and then I'll try it with the compressed air and see if I get full fuel. just experimenting. So there it is, very restricted. If you have too much, you run into the issue where you won't even be able to start it when it's cold. See that? That's full fuel. And the modulator is restricting full fuel travel. So 0.545 won't work. See the fingers go in? So I'm getting full fuel there. Getting full fuel. And now I'll back it off and see what setting we end up with. Turns out it's a 0.404. You could tune it a couple of ways, but we're just going to set it at 404. Yeah. And that's it. And now we'll test and make sure we get full throttle. All right. So I'm sure this is exactly how I settled on 404 before. All right, so it's all adjusted. I ended up going with a 0.385, and that gives me full rack travel. And we'll go with that and see what happens. It's not much different than 0.404. But with 0.404, there's just a little bit of travel left on those on the rack. Very slight, but maybe it makes a difference. So 0.385 it is. So you can see the ear move up. Just a slight movement. So that's good. That's all we can get with that. So we're getting full fuel travel and happy times. So the fuel modulator regulates the amount of fuel that can be advanced into the engine at low RPMs. So that's basically it. You get maybe a quarter throttle until you get boost, and then as I showed you guys with the compressor, this comes up and then it allows the rack to go full fuel when you have boost, and that eliminates smoke. And now that I've got the 9G90s in there, it's even more critical than before. So with the 7A77s, it was smoke free, and my goal is to try to get these smoke free. So with any luck, it'll be smoke free, but if it's not, we'll have to do a little bit of work. All right, we got the valves adjusted. Just had to adjust this valve here. That was a bit too tight. And then these ones, so cylinder 1 and 3. This one and that one were slightly loose. maybe a thousandths, 2 thousandths, and this one was out 3 thousandths. So pretty good. These are perfect. 2 and 4 were perfect, so not bad. Yeah, so I think it's somewhere around 36,000 miles or something like that. I'd have to go check my logs, but anyway, yeah, not bad for 2 years. So now we'll set the injector height. I've got the 1.47 tool, and that's what we're going to time it to. Uncharted territory, 9G90s. Of course, nothing was ever used like this in a 53 series. So I'm taking a guess. The 7A77s ran really nice at 1.47. So I'm assuming these will do the same. I could be wrong though. I hope I'm not wrong. So here's a 1.484. Very loose, just clears it by a mile. And here's a 1.46. And you can't rotate it through, see? It's too tight. 1.47. Alright, that's pretty much adjusted. I might have to change it slightly when I tighten it up. When I tighten the lock nut. Let me see if I can reach over and do this properly. So it's kind of more a feel than anything else. It just rubs the plunger face. That's what you want. And then sometimes I double check with a 1.46 just to make sure I haven't gone too far. And the 1.46 won't rotate. So there you go, guys. I'll run the other ones and finish those off. All right, guys, so we finished the tune-up. Set the rack. We didn't have to do much because the rack was basically already set. Just had to make some minor adjustments. I set the fuel modulator to 0.385, set the valves, and set the injector height at 1.47. So the next step would be just to start the engine, but being as I have to replace all these old fuel hoses and everything, I'm going to do those first, then I'll do an engine run-up. It's pretty self-explanatory, replacing hoses. I mean, I've done an entire video on that, so I'm not going to bore you to tears. So here's the PTFE hose. That's biodiesel compatible, you know, alternative fuels and methane and all that stuff. It's free from deterioration. It's steel and nylon wrapped. Very good hose. So it was time. Getting a little bit worried about this hose, but it's rock solid. See that? That's just from biodiesel running through it all the time. It's not suitable for that, you know. I had one line burst and I spliced it to this line and then knew that I had to replace this as soon as possible. So just thought I'd show you that. It's all nasty. Ooh, look at that. Oh, it's just disintegrated. So it was the suction side only, but wow, that is rotten. So anyway, that's why I wanted to get this done. I didn't want to be stranded on the side of the road. So pulled the exhaust off to get to the hoses. Just having a look at the turbine and very happy with what I see. Got a nice chocolate brown on the heat shield, and the tips of the turbine blades are brown as well. So getting about the best efficient burn out of the fuel as I can. And I think that can be attributed to running water meth. So everything's really clean. Top of the pistons are nice and chocolate brown. The injector tips are clean. So everything's working out really nice. Alright, the new starter's in. Alright, I was able to get the hoses this morning, and I put new Jake lines in, new fuel hoses here as well. So I've got the fuel hooked up, and everything's ready to go. We'll see if it starts. I've primed the fuel system, so it should go.
Well, we'll see. She certainly rolls some coal if you slam it, but we'll see what it does on the highway. Anyway, gonna test the jakes now. I'll wire them up and test. Yeah, nice. There's no leaks. Alright guys, we're calling that good. We're gonna button it up, put the cap back down and run it and see what we think. It's not a good indicator with no load on it. There's no boost, so it just smokes anyway. It did that with the 7A77s. So happy times. Got the jakes fixed, and tomorrow put the cap back down and go test drive it. So again, thanks for checking in, and we'll catch you on the next video. Take care.